Hello everyone, and a special hello to Panda Child. Today's video is going to be about how to do a foundation chain, and by extension it's also going to be about how to do a chain, just in general. It's the same chain that you use in a foundation chain that is found inside of patterns. So I just wanted to establish that really quickly, and also let you know that I'll be using a couple of terms kind of repeatedly over the course of these videos, and they are kind of industry terms. They aren't anything I made up. That are descriptions of what I'm doing. So you're going to hear things like yarn over, pull through, insert into chain, etc., right? And I will show what each of those means, but I'm going to keep using them because those are the terms you use, and you'll find them kind of throughout different kinds of crochet and things as time goes on. So I think it's important to understand what those words are. Even if you personally are like, I don't want to use those terms yourself, it is good to know what they mean. I'm not doing it right now, so cut away and do a secondary video with it facing my hands, but I did want to show you a couple of things with like a little one I worked up the other day, which I will undo and then we will redo it together. So this is a foundation chain. It is just also just a stitch, just stitch one kind of thing. It has all of the different bits to it. Looks a little like a braid. Those little V's right there are the stitches. So when somebody says insert into the stitch, they're talking about inside of those V's into both of those loops, underneath both of the braids. So the other thing I wanted to mention was the foundation chain sometimes works a little differently than any other the chains that you'll do through the duration of a row. They can be the most finicky to kind of work with. So it'll be important when you're doing it to make sure that it's even, but at the same time, it's not too tight. So you have the hook there. If when you're doing it later, you can't make your hook go into it, then you've done it too tightly, and you need to undo it and make it a little looser because you won't be able to work with it otherwise. So that, I wanted to establish that. And I also wanted to say that when you're doing patterns, or when you're working on different projects later, and you make your foundation chain, for things in the row and for things in the round, really. This will be for in the row. However many chains across is how wide the whole thing will be. So if I stopped there and made no more, it'd be exactly this wide. So maybe it would be like a little granny square, or maybe it would be like a washcloth or a scarf, or a bunch of panels that I would sew together later to make a blanket. But if I wanted to do one continuous thing to make a blanket, I would need to do easily 100, 150 more of those to make it how long I wanted it to be. So when you're reading patterns later, and we'll go into patterns as we learn the different stitches, sometimes there are two different ways that they're done. The first one could involve it saying that you need to, say, do a foundation chain of 51. And what that is the 50 chains across in one turning chain, which I will then, I'll show you when we get into building up the rows. The whole project itself will actually only be 50, and that turning chain is not part of it, kind of thing. And it's weird to see or like hear me say, but it would make more sense when I like show you. Some don't have that though, so it'll be important when you're reading through the patterns to see if it has turning chains or if it doesn't, because that helps determine how long or how wide the project is as well. And that is all I can think of that you'll need to kind of understand or have a basis for in order to do the foundation chain. Like I said, this one will be for in the round later. Like you'll use them for both. Technically, I guess this is not in the round then, is it? For rows, of course. Of course. So this will be rows. The same concept will apply though when you're doing a foundation chain for in the round. This one will not be round though. This is why I don't explain things with my mouth. If you think of anything that you need to know other than kind of what I've said now, just let me know. I'll do my best to answer any questions you may have. In order to do the foundation chain, you are going to start with the slip knot, which we established before. If you needed a refresher, feel free to look over that video to kind of get the basis again for how to make the slip knot. And so what you will need for today's thing is yarn and a hook. We don't need to get into any of the other stuff because it's just the first thing. And then after you have the basis for that, undo it, redo it, kind of practice it, really get comfortable with it, because these particular motions of the yarn over pull through that I'm going to explain, you're going to do them repetitively, constantly, and all the time to do any stitch you do for the duration of all of your crochet. And I guess that's about it, and we will get into doing the chain now. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do the foundation chain. Start with your slip knot, tighten it just a little bit more, it's a little bit loose. It's about like that. With your tail over here, and then the working end of your yarn, grab it and hold it in your hand as it suits you. Now you're going to yarn over, and to yarn over, you're literally wrapping the yarn over the crochet hook. You're going from back to front, not over the front like that. So that's the important part of that. So you need to make sure it's over the back side, and then pull through. And it pulls right through the loop. The cat would like very much to join. There he is. Hello, kitty. And then you do it again. So you yarn over, slide it over to the part, pull through the head, pull through. So now we've done two. So yarn over, pull through. It's hard for me to do it actually slow, so I'm going to do a few at a regular speed and have the video itself just slowed down. As it gets a bit longer, I like to kind of continue holding the yarn in my hand and hold on to that bit too. It helps me direct it a little bit. And this is all you have to do to make your foundation chain. Second to that, as we established in the first part of this video, later on during projects, when something says chain one, this is what it's talking about. Yarn over, pull through. That is chain one. So you will use that as well. And so that is all you have to do to make one crochet foundation chain. And you would make it the length of the project that you're trying to do based on either how wide you want it to be, if you're not sure about your gauges yet, or what the project itself says. That is the length that you would chain it for. To practice this, do as many as you want, and then you can unravel it and do it again. And then I would say make this until it is about 25 long, and then in the next video I will go into how to do a single crochet, and we will use the foundation chain we've made today as the basis for that. But I'm going to make sure mine's about 25 long, because that'll be long enough to give you kind of space to work with. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, please let me know.